This is my first video, and I am shamelessly starting off my channel with the lowest hanging fruit that I can find. The infamous Lacey Green. Last week, she put out a video where she enlists the help of 4 trans men to prove that male privilege exists. Now just in premise, this is already ridiculous. It's as if men can't observe the society they live in without their personal bias, but trans men, not trans women by the way, trans men somehow have some sort of authority. But we'll get into that later. Let's take a look at the video.
If you don't think male privilege exists, you are wrong.
I can't roll my eyes hard enough at this. His face, his tone, that whole sentence, it's just infuriating. How snarky can you get?
Gender bias is often ignored because it seems invisible and subjective to those who benefit from it.
Here it is again. It seems invisible because it doesn't fucking exist, Lacey. Do you not think that men are capable of observing the society they live in?
But trans men have experienced both sides of the gender-divided society, so I'm gonna let them explain male privilege in their own words.
Male privilege is the bullshit idea that men are better than anybody else.
He doesn't even know his own buzzwords. You're talking about androcentrism, or male supremacy. Male privilege is supposed to be the unearned benefits that men receive for the sole reason of being male.
Male privilege is the ability to move about the world in the way that you want to.
Yeah, for sure. Every man can move up in the world freely and no woman can. This isn't even a straw man. He's saying that moving up is a male privilege, and male privilege is supposed to be something that all men have.
It's the experience of being left alone and free to be yourself.
What does he even mean by this? Is he trying to say that men don't have social norms imposed on them? He contradicts this at the end of the video. You can't just say vague general statements and hope that people go along with them.
Privilege is also like the absence of experience. As a man, I have the privilege of getting on New York City subway train at 1 in the morning and don't have to worry about a man wagging his dick at me.
Jesus. Lacey had you on her show so that you could give specific examples of how your interactions with society differ pre-transition and post-transition, and your first point is how you feel. Feelings aren't privilege. Could women gain male privilege by just changing their thought process and not feeling like they will be harassed? And by the way, I bet you'll really love that male privilege of not getting a dick wagged at you if you ever get assaulted in the streets, which is more likely to happen now that you're a man.
That is a male privilege that I like.
What is that face you're making? Stop it.
The first time I noticed I had male privilege was when I was walking home from hanging out with a bunch of friends who happened to be women. They had expressed being a little worried about walking home in the dark, and while I was walking, I realized that I had no worry in the world about being talked to or stared at or followed or assaulted.
It's great that feminism has indoctrinated him to the point where he just struts around at 1 a.m. praying that his male privilege will keep him safe. And again, this is just your feelings, not privilege.
So a man could just walk down the street and no one is going to bother him, no one's going to ask him to smile, no one's going to ask him where he's going, no one's going to ask him if he's married, no one's going to ask him if they can walk with him, but this is something that I know women experience every day.
Okay, I can agree with this part. It's a male privilege to have it be a lot less common for strangers to give them some sort of attention or compliments. But is that really a privilege? This reminds me of a Reddit thread that I read a couple weeks ago. It was, in true Reddit fashion, a lonely guy longing for some sort of sexual attention. A very interesting comment in that thread came from a woman who said that while men are tourists in sexual attention, women are prisoners. So this essentially means that women are more likely to get too much sexual attention, and men are more likely to not get enough. Whether this is better for women or better for men, I guess that's debatable.
Post-transition life, my God, walking down the street is so glorious, I can actually think.
First time I ever experienced male privilege was on social media. I've always been the type to express myself and talk real crazy. And when I did it prior to transitioning, it wasn't okay. But the minute that I transitioned and everybody looked at me as that male figure, it was like, oh man, that's hilarious. I'm like, hey guy, I've been hilarious all this time. So what are you talking about?
Okay. What did you say? How is it not okay when you were a woman? Did you say the same thing to the same people? I can't even agree or disagree with you here. You're just so vague. Also, can we all agree that proclaiming you were funny is one of the most obnoxious things you can do?
I'm probably funnier than you.
Fuck off.
An unexpected aspect of male privilege for me was being taken way more seriously than I was before, and it's funny because I have all the same ideas, still thinking about the same things, and yet sometimes I would literally just be talked over or laughed at. Now people will often quiet down.
Again, I can't tell if this is just confirmation bias or not. You're just so vague.
And having experienced that from both sides of the spectrum, as female and male, I call bullshit on that right now.
Bullshit on what?
Male privilege and sexism isn't just a problem for women, but it's also about liberating ourselves. Masculinity is very diverse. Masculinity is what it is to you. You don't have to be a brute. You don't have to be an athlete. And my masculinity looks like a man who likes puppies and babies. And there's nothing wrong with that.
They don't even know what they're trying to argue. Do they think that being expected not to like puppies and babies is male privilege? That's just gender norms.
I was in the club this night and my brothers are around. I think it might have been Single Ladies. Something came on and I'm like, oh, all the single ladies, all the single, oh, all the single ladies, all the single. And they go, you're a man now. Men don't wild out to Beyonce like that. And I said, but it's music.
I love it. The first time they have an actual concrete example is when they're talking about sexism against men. It's almost like sexism against men is more normalized and more blatant.
There's no one way to be a man. There's a spectrum of masculinity, and just like, be chill.
It's so hard to agree with you when your voice is just so annoying.
If a guy wants to really understand male privilege and understand what it is, talk to women.
Beautiful. Next, we're going to learn about what it's like to be rich by talking to homeless people.
Step back, listen to what other people are going through, ask them what they're going through, and I think you'll see that the world doesn't run exactly the way you think it does.
Yeah, step back and listen to other people explain what your life is like.
You're doing nothing wrong by having privilege. It's just what you do with it that matters.
What's that supposed to mean? How do I use my male privilege as a force for good?
You know what else is male privilege? We actually have a bunch of men having to talk about what male privilege is, even though women have been talking about this for years. We ain't
Alright, that's the end of my video. Thank you very much for watching. I'd love to hear what you all think of it.